Good morning, gang. Good morning. Welcome to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is just for educational purposes only. And now that's out of the way, let's jump into the chat. So this week we've had requests for Litecoin, FET or Fetch.ai, and ETH. So yeah, let's jump straight in with Litecoin. So obviously Litecoin has been doing the rounds on crypto Twitter lately and the YouTubers, because everyone gets bullish after a single candle pump and everyone gets a bit overexcited. But yeah, so this is going back, this is a range that we've had on now, going back quite a while, in fact likely for the last few months, and we've just seen this big daily close, big pump up, 28% daily close, and we've closed the daily above the range highs. So for anyone that gets uber bullish at these points, this is the point where people think, well, we've had a daily close up here, so that's it, it's definitely going straight up to all-time highs. But for me, this is where I remain patient, because what we need to now see is, does this hold? Okay, so this is what some people refer to, you know, you need confirmation and all these other things that people throw out. Likely we broke out on that some decent volume. If we throw on the volume, yeah, we can see the volume. But again, this means nothing, because what this doesn't tell us is, this doesn't tell us if this was fresh longs and this is healthy, or if this was just a short squeeze and this is just the guys that were shorting all the way along here getting stopped out. Because it doesn't tell us that, and that's the drawback of the TradingView volume bars. Okay, but for me now, this is remaining patient, because I won't trade a breakout. You guys know me by now. So what I'm watching for now is, A, does this continue out here and we start to see new orders coming in, new market buyers coming in, new passive buyers coming in as well, and then maintain this structure to the upside, continue the healthy uptrend. In that case, potentially you have a long opportunity on here, depending on how it reacts. And again, that's if it comes down there. It might not give you that opportunity. It may just continue rolling up. Okay, so let's look at targets to the upside if it does continue rolling up first. So let's throw on a volume profile from the highs to here. And obviously these highs here are from May 21. Okay, so if we do continue up from here, we can see here, look on the volume profile. So right now we're at this high volume node. So we're at a sticky zone here, which is why we stopped where we did. Okay, if we continue up a little bit higher, then we can see this next high volume node will be coming in roughly around 125. Okay, nice round numbers, people like that. Okay, psychology wise, if it manages to get through this, which is effectively this consolidation here, then I'll be looking back up towards value area high. Okay, if we get towards value area high, then you're looking at roughly around 153. Okay, if we do come up this high, I'd be looking then for a sign of weakness to look for potential shorts and continue trading the value range. Okay, and if it does come up that high and you are in longs, then that'd certainly be for me to take profit, because if you do manage to get out of value, then you've still got this high volume node just above to contend with, which effectively would fill in this inefficiency. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking at to the upside. Okay, now what happens if this is just a deviation? Okay, you guys know me, I like my my swing failure pattern / failed rallies, and this could just be a failed rally. So if this rolls over here, gets back inside the range, continues with the structure, then I'll be looking for fresh shorts. Okay, if I'm looking for fresh shorts, again, let's zoom back to the volume profile. We can see here, we've got a high volume node here, which is roughly around 88. Okay, which is effectively around the base of this impulse up. Okay, if that doesn't hold, then I'm looking back down towards the EQ. Okay, and then we just play it level to level, and we just continue trading this range. Okay, you can either look at it as one big range, and that's a swing trader's range all day long, or we can look at it in two different ranges. Okay, the top half of the range, the bottom half of the range. Okay, but if you really are bullish, you do not want to see this deviating, because you don't want to see all this liquidity taken from all these stops and then this to roll over. Because if it does roll over, then that's not going to look great. Okay, does that mean it's going to go to new lows? No, it doesn't. It just means that we're going to continue trading this range. Okay, so from a range trader's perspective, that's ideal. But if you want up-only markets, then that's not ideal, is it? Okay, depends on your view. Absolutely fine. But for me, I'll never get bullish at the highs. At the highs, I'm looking to take profits, and I'm looking for opportunities for fresh shorts. Okay, this is, you know, anyone that's been chasing this, you're just an absolute fool. You know, in up-only markets, you can get away with crap like that, but when you're in a sideways market and you've still got all this resistance to contend with, you're a fool if you're chasing candles. But that's Litecoin. Next, moving on. Fetch.ai. And all my old TA seems to have disappeared off this. 2 fixed ranges. Okay, get rid of them. We'll leave this one on because we can use this. Okay, so we've obviously had the initial pump up at the start of the year, like everything else in the market, and then we've had this retrace. Now, this retrace has come down to this volume cluster here. Now, if I was a betting man, I'm going to guess that's between the 618 and the 786 in fib terms. Let's throw it on a fib retracement. And let's throw it on a standard fib retracement. Yep, there we go, the 786 perfectly. We can see here, so obviously we've come around, we've hovered around the golden pocket a while, and then we broke down, hit the 786, and then we've come back up to the golden pocket, and now kind of maybe flipping this into resistance. So is this a place I belong in? No, I wouldn't belong in here. Okay, so what can we look at from here? Well, quite simply, if this does start to roll over, we'll look at downside first. Okay, if this does start to roll over, then what you don't want to do is you don't want to see this come back into the old range. Okay, now this is the old range here for me. If I look at this, if I will use the volume profile for this, it works quite well. There's the old range with the deviation at the lows of the range. Okay, let's just zoom out so you can see that. So if it does continue rolling over, then you'll be looking what happens back down at these range highs. So you get your range highs, you got your value area high. What happens down here? Do you get a good reaction? Changing market structure on the low time frame? Aggressive buyers coming in? Well, then you've got a long opportunity. Okay. Now, what happens if that doesn't happen? Well, if that doesn't happen, then I'll be looking, do we get acceptance back into this range? If we get acceptance back into this range, then we'll just continue trading this range. Okay. If this range then breaks to the downside, then we'll let it ride down. If this range then breaks to the upside, then we'll let it ride up. But either way, you want to be short in range highs and long in range lows. It's as simple as that. Okay, but this is key. If it does come back here, this level here is key. Okay, start losing that, then we're back to trading this range and likely back down towards the point of control. Okay, what about to the upside? Well, the upside, let's throw on a volume profile from here. And let's see what we've got going on. Okay, we can see here we're in a sticky zone, which is pretty obvious because you can see it just from the candles itself. But we can see that there's some nice volume within this zone. If we do start to flip this, and we make our way up, continuing making high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, then I'd be looking back up towards this value area low here. Do we get acceptance back into this value area? No? Okay, we're looking for fresh shorts. If we do get acceptance back in, and it flips it and maintains that uptrend, okay, then I'll be looking back to trading this. And to be fair, this area here is fairly thin. So effectively, this is a range in itself. Okay, that's what you got to be looking at. So if it does get back into this, then I'll be looking to trade it back up towards that point of control. If it does get as high as that point of control, then you can't rule out the liquidity above these highs. Okay, but effectively, that's all you're trading. You're trading this value area here. Okay, this being the major resistance within this value area. And this comes in, what, roughly around 43 cents, give or take. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking at. So that's the upside, that's to the downside. Nice and easy. Again, it's quite a pleasure to trade. It's Fetch. The movements are quite big, therefore illustrating that it's a fairly illiquid coin, but either way, if you understand how to trade it, then you can make some good money on it. Okay. Before we continue on to ETH, let's talk about today's video sponsor. Today's video sponsor is BingX. Now, again, if you don't know who BingX are, they are a crypto exchange where you can not only trade crypto, but you can also trade forex, commodities, indices, and some stocks. And you can use crypto as collateral. If you use our code down in the description, then you can claim some deposit bonuses as well as some trading bonuses. And the first few hundred people to use the link will also get a $50 free position as well. Okay, so obviously that's BingX. Thanks for supporting the channel. Obviously, if you guys want to learn how to trade like this and understand what I'm looking at and get access to my daily plans, then go down to the description and click on the link to spitfiretraders.com. Okay, within this, you can get access to our free Discord. Okay, we've got over 1,000 members in our free Discord now. And obviously, if you do want to start learning properly, then come join our members course and you get access to over 100 hours worth of educational content. Now, this will talk you through from everything from absolute trading basics through to more advanced methods, including individual trading strategies that you can just implement right from the word go. And it'll teach you everything from psychology to Elliott wave theory to range trading, everything you need to know if you want to become a confluence trader like us, okay? And that will cost you the grand old price of $59.95 Great British Pounds, okay? Or in US dollars, that's $75. Then you get access to all that, okay? Right, moving back in. That's FET. And ETH, finally, ETH. I always like looking at ETH because ETH's always a good sign for the health of the overall altcoin market, okay? So we've been saying this for a while now. Again, we're range bound between this low, this high, range bound. And obviously a couple of weeks ago, you guys know, I was posting on Twitter about looking for longs here or looking for shorts up here. Fairly straightforward. This is how I trade, by the way. I mark out on the chart where I'm interested in and then set alerts. And if price gets to my levels, then I'll take a view if I need to take a trade. Okay, so that's how you trade. If this, then that. If price comes down into my area of interest, then I will look for longs if I'm given a setup. If price comes up into my area of interest for shorts, then I will look for shorts if I get the setup. If I don't get the setup, absolutely fine. If I miss a move, no problem. I'll look for the next. Okay, so obviously this one's now been hit and this one's been used. Create the uptrend. Now, for me, I'm not really interested in shorting here, if I'm being honest. I'd much rather short the range highs, and if we do come up to the range highs, especially if we take the local liquidity from here, start to break down, back inside the range, a little swing failure pattern or a deviation or whatever you want to call it, then I'd be looking for fresh shorts, and it'd definitely be a take profit on longs, okay? Now, what happens if that doesn't happen and it doesn't cause a reaction and it just comes straight back out? Well, if it comes straight back out, then looking around this cluster, either back into the cluster or take the highs again. Okay, if it does that, gets back into the range, then once again, I'm interested. Okay, but I need to see a sign of weakness. I'm not going to blindly short this. If this starts coming up in an impulsive style and gets no reaction around these highs, then I'm not going to be blindly shorting it. I'll wait patiently for higher prices. Okay, and that's how I do this. What I want to see is I need to see the weakness to get involved. Okay, and if that weakness just comes up with a spike up and then an absolute bomb down, then absolutely fine. If I don't have an opportunity, if I don't get my entry criteria, then I'll just miss a move. Absolutely fine. It doesn't bother me. I'll move on to the next coin that I can short or long. Okay, and this is how you've got to do it when it comes to trading. Okay, what happens if we don't get up here and we start to roll over? Well, if we start to roll over, then once again, back down at this value area. Now we can drag this on. So we've got some updated price action now. We can see here, value area high still in the same place. So if we do come back down, do we grab the liquidity from this? Turn around to the upside? Well, potentially got a long trigger there. If that doesn't happen, and it just starts rolling, then looking back down towards this EQ. But once again, I will reiterate this, what I've said many times, is this is a volume gap. Okay? It's a volume gap. So if you get no reaction here, no market structure change on a lower time frame, then just let it roll. And if it rolls, then you'll be looking to come down here to this level, which effectively will be taking out these lows. And you'll be looking at roughly around 1330. And if that doesn't hold, then I'll be looking back down at the point of control. Okay? As simple as that, just level to level. Nothing difficult, nothing complex. Find out where your strongest SR levels are on the chart, and that's what you're looking for a trade on. Okay? To the upside, if we do break this and we get no reaction and we continue up, then effectively, similar to Bitcoin, if you watch our Bitcoin updates, I'll just be looking to come back into this range. Okay? So the lower the range, we'll be roughly looking around 350, give or take. Okay? If it gets higher than that, then do we get acceptance back into value? If we get acceptance back into value, then we're just back to trading this range. Okay? Simple as that. So that's to the upside, that's to the downside. Right. Hopefully you guys have learned something today. If you have, let us know in the comments. If you're not subscribed, why not? Consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit that like button, guys, because it really helps us out with the algorithm. All right, gang, that'll do. As you were. Bye-bye.